Hey guys, it's Johanna. I'm just popping on to do a quick review of a palette that I have not showed you guys yet. This is the Flare Collection Remix by itsBel. If you recall, their Break the Rules palette was one of the first things that I reviewed. Just kind of to jog your memory here, that is what this one looks like. itsBel is a indie brand, and their formula is kind of like a softer, kind of a bouncy, has a kind of a bouncy quality to it, almost like a Super Shock, but not quite. I find that the easiest way to apply them is with fingertip. And then this is what this one looks like. This is their second palette. They have a third as well that has kind of more grungy fall tones. I don't own that palette, but it is something that I could see myself getting kind of as the season changes. But this is kind of more of like a spring color story versus that one, which is definitely a little bit more grungy. And then this one, which is obviously more bright, almost more summery. This is what they look like. I will go ahead and do swatches, a comparison, and then we'll do a quick eye look with it just to kind of show you guys how it looks. All right, the first three shades we have are Morganite, Star Ruby, and Citrine. And they are kind of a chunky formula, so I definitely grabbed a little bit more than I needed. So you do have to kind of be careful with that. So we have Morganite at the top, Star Ruby in the center, and then Citrine on the bottom. Next up is Larimer, Rosewater, and Amethyst. I will say that in comparison to the other ones, Amethyst does seem to have a bit of a drier, stiffer formula. So this one right here is Larimer, then Rosewater, then Amethyst. And you can kind of see what I'm saying with Amethyst. It's definitely not quite as dramatic as the other two. I would say that Rosewater is kind of the star of the show in this palette, but they are all gorgeous. And then we just have one more row to go, which was Aquamarine, Aeronite, and Lapis Lazuli. One last thing I did just want to point out before I started that was if you look carefully in this Larimer shade, kind of around the edges, and then Rosewater as well, you can kind of see that they are kind of not falling apart, but like you can definitely tell that they're fragile. This is definitely not a palette that you want to travel with, and I would say that it does have a fairly high likelihood of getting damaged in transit. It's not a huge deal. I can't recall if they arrive damaged at all. If they do, I mean, it's not a huge deal. You can just kind of smash it back in the pan, but it's definitely not the most sturdy, I guess you would say. It is a very delicate formula that is kind of prone to breaking up if you're not careful. So this palette may not survive a fall or getting knocked around in luggage at all. Okay, so my eyes are all prepped and ready to go. I am gonna go ahead and do two different looks. That way I can use as many colors as possible. For the first one, I'm gonna do like a blue-green situation, and then for the other one, I think I'm gonna do more of like a pink, purple, and or copper. I'm not entirely sure. We'll just see where it goes. So I'm gonna start with just packing kind of this chartreuse color in the crease. And then also for the other shades that I am using for this look that aren't in the Flare palette, I am using the Michaela palette, which I used in my last video as well. So I'm just trying to like lay the foundations real quick. That way we can finish her off using shades from the Flare palette. And I think I am going to use a little bit of this like mint shade as well. And then right in the outer part, I'm going to go ahead and put in kind of this deeper teal shade. The shade is called Freetown. And I really didn't do anything else with the rest of my makeup at all, just because that is not what I am worried about right now. Just kind of doing an eye look only, and I really don't care about the rest of my face. Probably take a blending brush just to blend that out a little bit more. And then I think we got a good enough foundation to go ahead and go in with the topper shades. Okay. All right, I think that looks good. So for the shades within the Flare palette, I am going to use a mixture of aquamarine, aeronite, and then this Larimer shade as well. I'm just trying to decide how I want to do this here. I'll probably do kind of a gradient, like one color, one color, one color. So out of all of these, the sparkliest one I would say would be this Larimer shade, with aquamarine being kind of the least. So I think I'm gonna do aquamarine on the outer, the aeronite in the center, and then Larimer in the closer to the center. And I will just go ahead and dip right in. There is aquamarine again. Me sticking my tongue out as I do things, like always. Then aeronite. God, that is such a pretty shade. Oh, I like that. And I do feel like it blends into each other really well. And then lastly, we have Larimer. And I can definitely tell that this shade would be really pretty with like a purple look as well. That's so gorgeous. And I'll probably do, as I like smear stuff all over my face, at the very end, I'll clean everything up and we'll do, oh geez, I'll have to grab something to like fix that quick here. I have like a little makeup eraser. It's not a big deal, but I'll probably put another one of the shades right at the center of both eyes just to kind of tie it in, even though we're doing two completely different looks. But yeah, that's a good start as far as those shadows goes. We'll go ahead and start on the other side. I'll clean stuff up and then we'll just kind of reconvene after I got all the shadows on. Okay, I am back and I cleaned that up. And like I said, like after I have the basic eye look done, I can kind of clean up the rest of my face. I'm not too worried about that. So I'm gonna start just with kind of like a lavender color. And I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna do this eye because I would like to use that copper shade. but I'm not entirely sure exactly how I'm gonna work that in. I love how this camera picks up like all my little fuzzy mustache hairs. And I think with this side, I don't think I'm gonna do as many of the other colors. I think I'm gonna try to keep it kind of simple. And the shade that I'm using on this side from that Michaela palette is called MJ. And speaking of Michaela palette, they actually just released kind of a teaser showing like a second Michaela collection, and it is so gorgeous. I really hope that I end up getting that one as well, just because I really do like this one a lot. That said, I feel like this shade here, this shade is called Pot 2, P-A-H-T 2. I assume because she has like a Boston accent. I'll be honest, I'm not really familiar with that YouTuber. But what I was gonna say is that this purple shade is not as pigmented as I would prefer it to be. I feel like a while ago, purple shades were really hard to do correctly, but I'm just like, I have so many good purple shades in my collection at this point that I kind of forget that they can be a weak shade. But honestly, with the shades that I'm going to put on top of it, it may not even matter. I think I'm going to put a little pink around the edge, just to kind of just for fun. Okay. All right, I'm gonna call that good enough, and we're gonna go ahead and go in now with the Flare palette again. For the shades on this side, I think we're gonna do Rose Water. Let's do Star Ruby, and then Morganite. I'm just trying to decide what order that I want to put things in here. I said Morganite, Star Ruby, and Rose Water, I believe. Okay, so Star Ruby is going to be the darkest shade. Oh, I actually like that shade more than I thought that I would. And then we're going to do Rose Water. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. That's definitely my favorite shade out of the whole palette. And then we're gonna do Morganite right in the middle. And Morganite I don't feel like is quite as like glittery as the other two. It's still nice and reflective, it's just not quite as like sparkly, I guess. I'm going to blend things out a little bit more, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish off the look. And then you can kind of see how it all comes together. Because I know sometimes, like, when you're half done, it doesn't look as good as it will when it's, like, completely all finished off with the final touches. but I am very, very happy with this palette, and all of the looks that you can do with it. Obviously it doesn't have mattes in it though. It is an all shimmer palette. Definitely like a companion palette to use alongside a larger palette that does have mattes. All right, y'all, we are at the finish line. The last thing that I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put a little bit of that coppery shade right in the inner corner on both sides, just to kind of tie it together. I used a couple ColourPop liners underneath each side and those same shadows that I showed you previously, just to kind of give it some cohesiveness. I know that asymmetrical eye looks aren't everybody's thing, but I think that they're fun and a good way to use as many colors as possible when you're trying out a new palette. So, last but not least, we've got this citrine shade, and I'm gonna try using a pencil brush, even though I'm pretty sure I'm gonna end up using my fingers anyway. So, come on, baby. Oh yeah, I don't know why I bother. Sorry. All right, I'm gonna call it good. That is the Flare collection remixed again from itsBel Cosmetics. I'm really happy with it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much else to say. If you have any other questions, let me know. Hopefully I'll be getting the Michaela 2 collection, and I can show you guys how that turns out also. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. If there's anything else that you'd like to see, let me know. Again, I'd like to branch out into things that aren't just makeup, but yeah, that's what's up. Like and subscribe if you're new. I could use more people. Have a good rest of your day.